it's Doris with Aldi Books, and I'm here with the penultimate residual stack from May. So making progress around here, I'm proud to say. So this is the final May wrap up. I did, I think, a little bit of a wrap up at the beginning of the month of May, that month. And I did my BookTube prize rankings and my Springathon wrap up, and then just a few more here. And these may be ranked. I don't know. I stacked them up a while back. But if they are, it's like reverse order in that the best ones are at the top this time. So diving right in, first up, I have another thank you to Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventures for an excellent recommendation. So this is the address book, What Street Addresses Reveal About Identity, Race, Wealth, and Power by Deirdre Mask. If you are looking for a book that will get you thinking outside your own bubble, this is it. Instead of being immersive on one topic, it's small short essays on a variety of topics relating to where you call home and how you label, how your house is labeled, your home is labeled, if you will. And it's just very, very thought-provoking. So, I mean, I personally, some of the things I thought about were how not being homeless, how not having a home and an address to call your own really impacts your quality of life and what you're able to do in this world. What it's like to live in less affluent countries where not every citizen has a street address, and how different that looks. And what the name of your street is and what that says about your community, from, you know, the Martin Luther King Jr. boulevards that are just everywhere in this country, to the current debate, not on statues, but on Confederate generals' names and our proclivity for naming things after them and what impact that has. I mean, why wouldn't you, change the name of a community, of a street that runs through an African American community? Why would it be okay for it to be named after a Confederate general? Why is that so hard to change? These topics and more are explored in that book. And then I had another fabulous Erik Larson buddy read with Heidi and Patrice and Karen from Run Right Reads. And that was The Splendid and the Vile by Erik Larson. This is a saga of Churchill family and defiance during the Blitz. And so this was focused on the first year that Churchill was the prime minister during World War II. And it was engrossing. This is the best book that Erik Larson has written yet. It was so good. So good. So he takes, Erik Larson looks at diaries and political documents and just a wealth of information and strings it together so effectively into this text, and really zooms in on what it was like to be in that moment. And just one of the many things that he manages to spotlight so gracefully is the difference in socioeconomic status and how that impacted the way the war affected you. Oh, this was really, that's just one thing. This book was well written and entirely engrossing. And then I think I'm the last person around to have read Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I mean, my sister's even read it. She gave me this book. It's a hand-me-down from my sister, my big sister. So I listened to this on audiobook recently, and I was mesmerized, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I was completely mesmerized from the opening pages. This is focused on a single mother and her teenage daughter, and another relatively wealthy family in the community, about their social interactions, mostly between the children, but also the mothers, and another wealthy family in the community that adopts a baby, and the impacts that has. And it talks about the secrets that we all keep, and the internal prejudices that we all have, and how impactful that is when it all comes out. So, somewhat relevant for these times we're in. So there's that. And then I had another great buddy read with Paula from Draw Your Book. We read The 10th Muse by Catherine Chung together. I will link Paula's channel below. So this is about a gifted mathematician. She knew that, everyone knew she was really extremely bright and gifted in math as a young child. But this surrounds questions about her heritage, who her parents really were, and you get some investigation and flashbacks into the past, into World War II. The book starts out in the 1950s to modern times as she goes through her studies and her career. It was really fascinating, a really interesting read. The ending didn't resolve really well for me, but overall I still did enjoy this book. And if you're interested in this, I mean, this would be perfect for summer school readathon for the math prompt. So yes, I will link that announcement video below too. Anyway, and then I am speechless. I am speechless. I read my best friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and I'm not sure what to say about this experience. So this is very campy 1980s horror flick type writing. It was written, recently in the teens. It's kind of cool the way this hardcover is put together like a yearbook. But oh my word. So it's written now, but it's written like it was written in the 80s. It is so 80s. If you need some 80s nostalgia. However, there are some very what I call casual racism and sexism comments in here that are very much the 80s. Like I said, this is written like it was from the 80s. But I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. However, I have a really good friend who's written who's read the new one with the peaches on the front about the vampires, the southern one, and she said that book has a really subtle but profound commentary on racism. So I'm going to give this a pass. My problematic moments in it until I read that one. And then I have to warn you, there are every sensitivity trigger warning that there is in this book. So all of them, you know, drugs, abortion, eating disorders, self-harm, I think. I can't remember that, but it's all in here. There are really scary moments. It opens up with the girls, you know, oh, let's, you know, they're all really nice girls, like good girls in school, hard workers. But it opens up with, oh, well, let's take some drugs by the, some hardcore drugs out by the docks, you know, because of course one of them has a lake house. So yeah, and 3 of them, nothing happens, and one of them, you don't know if she just had a really hard trip or if, you know, she came out of the woods the next morning. She was lost all night and she came out of the woods naked. So there's that. That's not a spoiler. It happens in the first chapter. So, and then, there is one point, you know, when it's talking about what happened to one of the friends, when I just literally was like, what in the world did I just read? So, yeah. And then, finally, I finished Piece of the World by Christina Baker Klein. So this is focusing on the life of the artist, Andrew Wyeth, and his friend, and the woman that, you know, the famous art piece with the woman lying in the field looking at the, like lying in a golden field looking at the old house in the distance. That artist and the woman in that painting had a real life friendship, and this is about her life, but an imagined story. So similar to The Girl with the Pearl Earring, which is a much beloved book that I found slightly boring. So same case with this one. I found this one slightly boring. I also didn't like the way the author framed the woman's life story to fit his plot purpose at the end of the novel. But I think that was just me and the things that I like and don't like about characters. So I would say if you really liked The Girl with the Pearl Earring, you chances are will really like this one. It's a well-written book and interesting narrative and thematic things to explore. But yeah. So, whew, I'm gonna stop now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye.